have a clue how I'm making money on my podcast, and I don't care right now. I'm adding value, I enjoy doing it, I love it, it works itself out. Things always work itself out when you follow your passion and purpose and you think of adding value. Add value, be of service, and things work out. If you don't want somebody else to love you, you probably don't love yourself right now. I get it, some people need medication, but medication or self-soothing with medication doesn't fix the problem. It just mutes it. It just depends what somebody's motive is. Like if somebody's listening and they just want to get rich, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But if they're really excited to share a gift or something that they're on purpose and have passion about, that's a different story. Even in my worst times, I've gone through a lot of bad things in my life and in business, and there's always something amazing on the other side. There's always something amazing on the other side.
I feel the biggest pain when I see people who cannot find their place under the sun. Unmotivated, sad, and desperate people. Business owners, entrepreneurs, suffering from burnout, stress, and boredom, and no time for their family. My biggest goal is to help them realize that this world provides enough opportunities for everybody. I managed to help thousands of people, but I strongly believe that we can do so much more if we unite our knowledge and skills. And this is the reason I started doing interviews with the best visionaries and world changers. Their inspiring personal and success stories are a proof that everything is possible. All you have to do is listen and learn. Together, we can change our lives and the future of this world.
Hello everybody, this is Warrior Family and I'm Smillion Mori. I'm sure you're all here because you believe that we can all create and live the life worth living. And my goal within this show is to bring you guests, their mindset, hacks, strategies, systems that can help you create and live the life worth living. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Natalie Jill. She is a fat loss expert turned high performance coach. She helps people across the globe reach their health, business, and life goals by empowering them to level up and create everything from nothing. In the process, last maybe 1 year, she created a globally recognized brand with well over 2.5 million social media followers worldwide, and created an online business that has consistently generated 7 figures a year. And she has been recognized by Forbes and Greatest for 2 years running as one of the top health and wellness influencers. Welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me.
You even wrote down your age.
Yeah, I
won't tell them. So you were joking that you are 50 years old.
Yeah.
You look amazing for 50 years old.
Well, I am not joking. I'm 47, so I'm almost 50. And a lot of women do hide behind their age and they don't share it, but I talk about it because I don't like that. It doesn't have to have a bad rap that we're that age.
Especially here in the United States.
Yes.
I took a taxi maybe a year ago, and you know I like to talk, asking questions. So I asked this taxi driver, she was a lady, how old is she?
Did she get insulted?
She didn't speak with me.
Yeah.
Whole trip from LA to San Diego. She said, you are not asking this question anymore.
That's funny.
States.
Yeah.
So why are you so open to talk about your age? Because you look so great.
Thank you. It's really that we have these, I call them self-imposed stops about what aging means. So women tend to think, and maybe men, I hit 30, I hit 40, I hit 50, I hit 60, and I'm dated or I can't do things. And we make this big story around this dreadful age, and I don't think it needs to be that way. I mean, it's really, I do it more of a proof that it doesn't have to change you. You can be whatever you want to be. You can start a new career. You can get healthier. You could do a lot of things no matter what your age. So I just like to disrupt the story that 47 is old or dated or anything other than what it is.
Wow, great. We will talk about this because you're writing the book,
Yeah.
Aging in Reverse.
Yes, my book, Aging in Reverse, hits stores in May. So,
Yeah.
and I'm talking even deeper about that.
So it's the book. It's only for women or also men?
No, it's for anybody.
I can reverse my
it's
age.
For, well,
How could I do it?
It's the reason I call it aging in reverse is, again, we don't have to be deteriorating. We don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be a positive thing too. And with age comes wisdom. It comes knowledge. It comes experience. There's a lot of things that come from aging, and if you embrace it as it's a good thing, and I'm leveling up to another year, then it doesn't have to be this bad thing that people think it is.
So what are some of the things that we can do to reverse aging?
Oh my gosh, the number one thing?
It's a mental
Yes,
thing?
the number one is changing your state. So changing the way that you think about things, like those self-imposed stops that, women say it all the time, I'm too old, I'm getting too old, I don't want to be this. So stopping that language right there, and instead embracing it, and not trying to hide things so much. So, like we could do lots of things to fix our age, or try to fix it. We can go get injections and all these other things. And believe me, I've tried all kinds of things, but it doesn't stop the process. So just being more open about it and just embracing that getting older, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. So just changing that mindset around that. That's one. And then also getting rid of that conversation that because I'm older, I can't do things. Like you can start a new career at any age. You can have children at any age. You can get healthy at any age. You can do a lot at any age. So stopping that conversation that because I'm older, I can't. That's one.
Great. And then?
And then there's the other parts. There's the planning your plate, which is the nutrition aspect. So yes.
Planning your plate.
Planning your plate, yeah.
Planning your plate.
Yeah. So eating foods that help support slowing down that process. So eating anti-inflammatory foods, not having the sugar or the processed foods, having lots of vegetables and healthy phytonutrients that helps keep your skin young, helps keep your gut healthy, helps keep you having more focus and energy. A lot of those things that people think just go away with age. You can slow that process down by eating healthy and having those mega nutrients. When you live on processed food and junk, you're not helping your body stay at peak performance. When you eat natural, healthy, unprocessed foods and lots of fruits and vegetables, you can help be sharp, be focused, stay healthy as you get older.
How did you get into the fitness and health industry or niche?
Yeah, great question.
And when?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I was going through my own personal rock bottom. I was a new mom, and I was finding myself going through a divorce. And in America, we had hit the financial just rock bottom mess. The housing market had crashed, real estate had crashed. And I found myself in a spot I'd never been in before. I was new mom, going through a divorce, broke, found myself losing my house, and in debt for the first time in my life. And I wasn't in health or fitness. I was in corporate America, doing sales. And I remember just feeling super overwhelmed, like my life's out of control. And the only stable thing I had was that I had a new baby, and that I had a job, and that job had to get disrupted because as a newly single mom, I couldn't travel with work anymore. So I had to take a voluntary job demotion, and I went through this really massive depression, and it was the first time in my life I had really experienced depression. And I remember just being really torn on how to get out of that state, that mindset. And I created what people know now as a vision board. I took a bunch of magazines and I started cutting out what I wanted my life to look like and feel like. And I put that all on a board, and it was healthy, fit women, it was healthy foods, it was a happy family unit, it was a nice house with ocean views. And I remember just putting this all on a vision board and looking at it and saying, okay, if I don't feel good about myself right now, if I feel super depressed and miserable, maybe if I just look at that board and I can imagine what it would be like to be one of those people on that board, then I can start taking those actions like I am one of those people on that board, and I can become that. And that's really what started my journey with health and fitness. Because when I looked at the healthy, fit women I put on the board, I thought, well, they would make good decisions on their food. They would eat healthy food. They would move their body. They would start working out. They would do more towards that lifestyle. And I literally started pretending like, that's the only way that I was that person on that board. And in sales, people call it acting as if. I mean, that's really what I was doing. I'm gonna act as if I'm that person, and that healthy, fit person would research fitness and nutrition and all of that. So that's what I did. I dove in, I researched it all. I learned, I practiced, I started to transform my own body pretty quickly. And I shared it on social media at the time. And I shared what I was doing, not to show off, not to sell anything, really just to share what I was doing and have accountability. And it launched a whole business for me because people were so interested. Like, how are you doing this? How did you do that? Tell me more.
You hit a couple of things. First is that you lost your job. Mm-hmm. You have a young baby. How old was she?
She was a newborn at the time. Baby, one. Before she was age 1, this happened.
And divorced?
Getting a divorce, yeah.
And depression? Mm-hmm. And then changing the career. Mm-hmm. That's starting new business. Maybe we have somebody watching this now.
Yeah.
They think that when you were 37 something.
I was in my mid-30s at the time, yep. Which could have been viewed as too late then, too, you know?
Absolutely. We always think that we are too old.
Yeah, always. I thought I was too old then. Yeah.
So you said you were in deep depression.
I didn't know it at the time, but that's what it was. I mean, the kind where I just didn't want to get out of bed.
What did you do in this deep depression?
Yeah, I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. Wow. I didn't want to look at myself. The only thing that kept me going was I had a daughter. And I knew I needed to be here for her. Like, I needed to get it together for her. I just didn't know how to. I didn't know how to. And at the time, I felt really fake. Like, I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to because I had led this fake life up until that point. You know, I had what appeared to be the happy marriage and the perfect house and the perfect job, and everything looked like it was so together, and now my life was falling apart and I was embarrassed. And I had not been authentic before that, so nobody really knew what I was going through. And it felt very weird to be able to reach out and say, hey, I need help, I'm struggling. So I internalized a lot of it, and I just wanted to sleep and eat, and which didn't help with the weight gain or the health. So I just sort of spiraled downhill, and all that changed for me was deciding that I wanted more than that and creating that vision board that day. That was that first step.
What happened with your husband?
My ex-husband?
Ex?
Yeah.
Right. What happened at that time?
Nothing that...
How long you were married?
I was married to him for 3 years, and I'm remarried now, but at that time I was married to him for 3 years. I had married someone who I didn't know well enough at the time. You know, I had just moved to California when I met him. We became friends quickly. I wanted to be married. He wanted to be married. We got married. We shouldn't have gotten married. I'm glad we got married because we have my daughter now, but we just weren't right for each other. It just wasn't, and he was my best friend at the moment, at that time when I was married to him, and we just found that we were very different people and it wasn't gonna work. So us making that decision to get a divorce at the time felt devastating, but now, you know, it's the best thing that could have happened. I mean, we actually are friends now. We raised an amazing daughter, both remarried, so now that's good. But at the time, it just was one of those things that just it wasn't gonna work.
How much time did you need to overcome this pain of divorce?
Oh, gosh.
To heal and to find another love.
Yeah, I don't know that you ever fully overcome a divorce. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. I can say I'm 10 years later now and remarried and love my husband, and I still think back to that being painful because I have a daughter that wants to know why she doesn't have married parents. So I don't really ever fully overcome it, but to feel like myself again, it was a few years. I mean, I didn't meet my current husband until several years later after that. Mm-hmm. So it's not an easy process. I don't know that anyone can overcome a divorce in like speed. You know.
What advice could you give to somebody that is going through divorce right now, or? Gosh,
focus on your vision.
Knowing what you know now.
Yeah, focus on your vision of what you want. Because it's so easy to focus on what went wrong and what we lost and and idealize something. Like when somebody dies or somebody's out of your life, you idolize like what the great parts of them. But there's also pain that you didn't want. Like it takes 2 people to get a divorce. No matter what the situation is, it takes 2 people to get a divorce. So I could have blamed my ex-husband all I wanted, but I had a role in that too. So really holding on to the vision of what it is that you want. Like, what do you want for your life? Like, how do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? Because if you can stay attached to the vision and not what went wrong, that propels you forward. So it really comes down to a mindset thing too. It's the same with fitness. It's the same with getting out of depression. It's the same with starting a business. It's all that mindset of holding on to that vision, what you want.
But how do you overcome this emotional pain? Yeah, it's a good advice. Focus on what you want, but this emotional pain that is inside.
Yeah. Well.
You know, I meet many people that are
Totally.
in the process of divorce, and you want to help them.
Yes.
You really can't.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I might be crossing a line here, so I don't know. But so a lot of people go and do a quick fix with medication, and I got it. Some people need medication, but medication or self-soothing with medication doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't. It just mutes it, right? So if you're going through a depression and you're totally depressed and you take antidepressants, whatever. Great, but you never actually deal with those emotions. So at what point do you stop that and feel the feels? Because I think it's important to actually feel the feels and let yourself have those outbursts and cry and share. And if you don't get those emotions out, it does build up, and it shows up in other ways. It shows up in pain or disease or other ways. So you have to get the emotions out somehow and not just mask them.
Did you go to the gym before the divorce?
I went to the gym my whole life,
Okay.
and when I got pregnant, I stopped working out, and I ate a lot of junk food. So I gained a lot of weight, and I had every excuse in the world of why I wasn't going to go back to the gym. But when I felt so miserable with myself, and I felt like my life was so out of control, I decided that the things I could control was what I put in my body and what I actually did to move it. So I started with home workouts, just moving my body at home.
Okay. So you believe in law of attraction because you set up the vision boards and everything.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it law of attraction,
How do
but
you
sure
call
you
it?
could. I think whether you believe in religion, the universe, your guru, or whatever it is, there is something to be said for having a vision and putting it out there and declaring it. So and having faith about that. So whatever somebody decides, whether it's, again, religion, universe, whatever, it's having that vision and knowing what it is that you want and what you're after, and then declaring it, telling people I'm going after this, and not taking no for an answer on that, just making a decision, deciding. And that really is something I found as a commonality with success with everybody, with anything. It's those things. Those have to be present.
Well, what would you say? Why did you attract this ex-husband into your life?
Why did I attract this ex-husband into my life? Gosh, I've not been asked that. Let's see, we're gonna go way back. I think I just wanted to get married. I think at the time, it was what you're supposed to do. I was in my 30s and I thought I'm supposed to get married.
Okay.
So I met
you were rushing.
I was rushing,
There's a huge lesson out there.
Yeah, he was cute. He was, we made a cute baby apparently, so it worked out great for that. But it wasn't. I think a lot of women do that. It's like they just want the wedding and the shine of it all. That's why.
Did you have hard time then to say yes and commit again after the divorce?
Initially, I didn't know if I'd ever get married again.
To allow somebody.
Yeah, I didn't
you.
know if I would ever get married again. And then my husband now, who I've been married to for 3 years, and we've been together for about 7.5, I actually told him when we first started dating that I didn't want to get married again. And then the longer we dated, the more he wasn't asking me to get married, it started bugging me. Like, what do you mean? Why isn't he begging to marry me? So that it became this sort of mission. But no, my husband now was a different story. It wasn't because we just wanted to get married. There was no agenda of I want to have a baby. We fell in love, and that's how we ended up together.
Yeah, I know many divorced women. They don't ever allow somebody else to love them again.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
To love yourself first, because, if you don't want somebody else to love you, you probably don't love yourself right now. So that would be my guess, and I'm certainly not a therapist, but my advice would be to focus on loving yourself. I focused on loving myself. I took care of myself, started a business, took care of my health, my fitness, my daughter. Like, I looked into my passion. What did I want to grow? What did I want to do? And I started loving myself, and I didn't need somebody else to complete me, and that's when somebody came into my life.
Great. What happened when you got into the fitness and health industry?
Yeah, so I got into it by accident. I was doing my own thing, taking care of myself and sharing it for accountability, and people loved it. So people started asking me, what are you doing? How are you eating? And I decided, because a lot of people were asking me to make a recipe book, to make a little PDF of my recipes. Because I used to take pictures of what I eat and put them on Facebook. This is how I started. So I made a little PDF document with my old BlackBerry phone photos of the food I was eating. And I remember putting it on Facebook for $10. And I said, you know, who wants this? And people bought it. And it was pretty cool. So people were buying my recipe book. And as my body was changing and I was getting noticed for this, and I started getting fitness modeling jobs and getting more known with fitness, people wanted to know how I was eating, how I was putting those recipes together. So my business mind sort of kicked in, and I created what's now a best-selling book in stores called My 7-Day Jumpstart. And I wrote it in a weekend based on my own transformation. So creating a vision board, how to do that, writing your goals, declaring it and deciding it, how I ate, all the things that I ate to make things work, how I worked out at home. And I put it on Facebook for $35 at the time. And people bought it. And not only did they buy it, they had massive results with it. So somebody would buy 7-Day Jumpstart and send me an email and say, wow, Natalie, I lost, 7 pounds. I'm feeling amazing. This is awesome. And I would say, that's great. I'd say, can I share that? It's very motivational for others. And they'd say, sure. So I would share, hey, look, guys, Terry lost 7 pounds. This is what she sent me. Look how amazing this is. Go Terry. And I made it about her. And what inevitably happened was people wanted it and they shared it. And my following grew. And people were buying it, and that one product ended up turning into a several $million-dollar product just from me sharing authentically. And I didn't have sales pages, I didn't have marketing pages, I didn't have any of that.
Facebook.
Just Facebook and my little WordPress site and my PDF document.
But how, you obviously started with the book. Mm-hmm. So what programs you have now?
Oh, I have so many programs now, but so that's evolved, and that book actually became a hard book in stores, a best-selling book in stores, and then that evolved. The thing I always did right, I've done a lot of wrong things in business, a lot of wrong things, but the thing I always did right was I would always listen to what my audience wanted. So whatever my audience was asking for, that's how I came up with the next product. So after 7-Day Jumpstart, they wanted workouts, so inevitably I made body weight workouts for them and had DVDs. Then they would want that next level, and I would create other programs. And then now my big main fat loss program right now is called the Full Body Reset, which is really everything I've learned in the last 7 years from so many clients on what makes a transformation stick. And I put that all together in one program that's called the Full Body Reset, which embraces a lot of mindset in addition to the nutrition and the workouts.
Somebody would say that, this industry is saturated. Mm-hmm. But you found your space and place in it.
So, Smillion, every industry is saturated.
Okay.
I mean, every industry is saturated, and everything that's done has been done before. The bottom line is the person behind it, it's their passion and purpose, and are they authentic and relatable to people? That's it. Because there's billions of people. The problems are still there. There's enough room for everybody, but people gravitate towards real, authentic people that have passion and purpose. So when I've lost my way in business, and I've made many mistakes in business, it's one of those things was off course. Either I wasn't being authentic, like I had maybe reached out to a marketing company to help me, and now it really wasn't my voice, and that has massive detrimental effects when you do that. Or maybe I wasn't passionate and purposeful about something, and if it's not in alignment, that doesn't work in business.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about how did you start and the mistakes you did. Mm-hmm. And we probably have somebody watching the show that is thinking, I want to start a business, but I don't know how. So how long did it take you to go from just doing what you love to earning enough income that you can live from? Yeah,
mine happened probably within 6 months, but I wouldn't say that that's normal or expected. Okay. I don't know that there's a standard because a lot of overnight successes, there's a lot before that we don't know or see about them. Like, so for instance, for me, that happened quick for me, but I also am a super natural, strong marketer and salesperson. Like, that's in my blood. So once I see a need and I really understand and I come from a place of caring and want to help, I can go fully after it with purpose and passion. So it just depends what somebody's motive is. Like, if somebody's listening and they just want to get rich, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But if they're really excited to share a gift or something that they're on purpose and have passion about, that's a different story. So, like, I just launched my own podcast recently, and that's a saturated market. There's a million podcasts out there, and I didn't have time to do a podcast. There's no need for a podcast, but I'm so on passion and purpose with it and on fire that I came out of the gate running with it, and it was a success early on. So it really it's a matter of what are you passionate and excited about, and is there a need that you can solve?
Mm-hmm. So how somebody can turn this passion into money?
You think of adding value and adding service, and it works itself out. And that might sound woo-woo, I don't know, but it's so true that how always reveals itself. I told Lauren came here with me today, and I told her on the way up, I said, I don't have a clue how I'm making money on my podcast, and I don't care right now. I'm adding value. I enjoy doing it. I love it. It works itself out. Things always work itself out when you follow your passion and purpose, and you think of adding value. Add value, be of service, and things work out. They just do.
Let's talk about family a little bit. What values would you like to pass down to your daughter?
Gosh, that's always such a hard one. I want her to be a good person, and first and foremost, I think everybody on this planet has a gift. And I think so many people get so stuck in stories of why they can't be their gift or share their gift, or they have all these fears around it. And we're all here for a reason, and we all have a purpose, and share your gifts. I want my daughter to share her gifts. I don't care what it is, as long as she feels that she's being heard and being her, and being herself. I tell her every day she can be anything that she wants to be. Anything that she's excited about, she can be. I don't ever want to be the one in the way of her dreams or what she can be, and I want her to be a good person and come from that place of adding value.
How do you balance now this business and personal family side?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't feel that they're a big separate thing anymore. If you're living your purpose, that could be your business too. And for me, what I do for business really falls into what I do in my family life as well. So I don't know that it's fully separated. Now, I've had to get better about not always being on the phone or social media or whatever it is when I'm with my family, so I'm aware of that. I haven't perfected that yet, but I'm aware of it. But I don't know there's this big, huge separation. It's not like I have an office I go to from 9 to 5 and then I shut it off at home.
You work from home?
I do work from home, yes.
So when do you wake up in the morning?
When do I wake up? Most mornings about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
And so in an ideal day, not every day, but most days, some days I get distracted with things I shouldn't be doing, but most days in an ideal world, I wake up and right next to my bed, I have a podcast selected to listen to first thing in the morning. So the first thing I do is I usually put a podcast on, go get myself ready while I'm learning and listening to something that's motivational, positive that I want to hear or learn. I'll go make a nice breakfast. I love to have breakfast and eat quiet time. Then I have a gratitude journal that I'll write down a few things of gratitude, and I'll ground myself in like what I want for the day. And then I will look at my to-do list for the day, but I treat a to-do list not like I have to check off all these tasks. I look at like the 3 main things that I need to do to help move me forward that day, and I circle those. Then I'll go get my daughter up, get her ready for school, drive to school. My drive to her school is quite a distance, so I also listen to a podcast on the way back. So it's another opportunity. Usually come back, work out, and then I jump into my day. That's ideal. Now, some days, Smillion, I am the guilty one that picks up my cell phone, I start checking Instagram, the whole day changes. So I'm just not going to lie and say that I'm perfect.
If you do this first thing in the morning, it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's the worst thing to do, and I definitely do it some days.
Check out your social media.
And even so much, I've taken email off my phone, but then I put it back on sometimes. Like I literally will download it from my bed sometimes. Why I do that, I don't know. When I do it, it ruins the day.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I can relate.
Yes, yeah. So anyway, I don't know that anyone's really perfect with that. Everyone says they are. I'm like, I'm not perfect with that.
You have such a good plan when you lay down in the bed, and then you wake up, you have this plan. I will go to the gym, I will do this and that, and then bam, 2 hours.
And what stinks about it, and I know better, but then you're on somebody else's agenda. Like, we can't control what we're going to see in those feeds, and then I react, and then I'm messaging somebody on my team that the whole day gets thrown off.
So what do you recommend to how to plan your plate?
How to plan your plate. Yeah. So my big rules with that are think addition, not subtraction. So instead of what are all the things I can't have, what are all the things I should be adding? More water, more vegetables, more healthy fruits, more lean proteins, healthy fats, nuts and seeds, avocado. If you add more of the good, there's less room for the bad. That's the biggest rule. The second rule would be to look for unprocessed natural foods. So the more of the real good, healthy foods you can eat, less room for the bad. So again, not striving for perfection, but just can you do more of that? Can you do more of that?
How you fight sugar?
Well, you don't fight sugar because fighting sugar will always win. What you do is you eat a balanced natural food diet so that you don't crave it as much. So when you eat primarily fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, proteins, you have more regulated insulin and you don't crave as much. When you eat bread, pizza, cookies, pasta, you're gonna want more sugar. So the more sugar you eat, the more you want to have it. So it's not about fighting it, it's about balancing out your diet so you get the right nutrients so you don't crave it. And then when you really want it one day, you have a little bit because of what you don't have, you obsess about. And what you obsess about, you possess.
So what you are obsessed about?
Well, every now and then I might have a Reese's peanut butter cup. I mean, it's just being real. And if I want one, I have one. It's not about being perfect, and I don't beat myself up for it. So it's most of the time, 90% of the time, I eat real natural and processed foods, and then every now and then I want something that's not on that, and I have it.
Do you teach this to your daughter too?
I teach this to my daughter, but
Are you strict?
No, with her, my rule with her is eating natural, real, unprocessed foods. So if she wants an Oreo, great. You have that at school with your friends, or let's go to the natural food store and get a version that's healthier. So she knows, but she's a kid, and I let her have kid food. If she wants macaroni and cheese, she does, but it's gonna be natural, organic cheese with the noodles. And I'm not gonna be that parent that, doesn't let her have the food at parties or school. So she can have what she wants, I just educate her.
It's nice.
More, yeah.
How often do you go on vacation?
How often do I go? On a planned vacation, maybe twice a year.
How much free time you have?
I have as much free time as I want to have.
Really?
So yeah,
That's
I mean,
interesting.
there's one of my reasons for being in the field that I'm in and doing what I do and working for myself and creating what I've created is for freedom and comfort. I mean, and for being able to give back. Like I want to be able to be generous to whoever I feel like being generous to. I want to be able to have the freedom to go and see and experience what I want to experience, and I want to feel comfortable when I do it. So those three things are what drive me more than just having nice clothes. I like nice clothes too, but more than that, I would like to be able to experience those three things.
What is your dream destination and your family?
Let's see. Well, every time I say a dream destination, I end up if you had asked me 2 months ago, I would have said Australia, and it was on my vision board. But then I ended up going to Australia. So I guess the next one, let's see, would maybe be
should be Slovenia.
I'd never even heard of that before today.
Never heard of that.
So now I know it.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, before today I hadn't. So should that be on my list? Is it nice?
Yes.
Okay, it's
Slovenia,
on my list. I got to learn to pronounce it first. Slovenia.
It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
Okay, it's on my list now.
Melanie Trump, she's from Slovenia.
Okay, it's on my list now.
It is?
Sure, why not? You have any event there? I will go to your event.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really beautiful country, and Croatian coastline is the best and most beautiful coastline in the world.
Amazing, good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can show you.
Yeah.
What would you do if you go back? What would you do to become and to achieve what you achieved in half time? What would you change?
Oh, I wouldn't change anything.
No?
No, even my worst times. I've gone through a lot of bad things in my life and in business, and there's always something amazing on the other side. There's always something amazing on the other side. So even though I have a lot of things that have happened that during the time I'm like, God, this is awful, this is horrible, this is terrible, there's always another level on the other side. So I'm learning to embrace those breakdowns, knowing that there's a bigger purpose on the other side. So there's nothing I would change right now.
How would you speed up the process, in the business?
I wouldn't speed it up, I would enjoy it more.
Enjoy it more.
I would enjoy it more. I
mean?
think that there's a constant thing, especially with entrepreneurs and myself, of chasing, like when I get here, like so focused on that end goal. And there's a lot in the process that's enjoyable. The living is in the process. It's not at that end goal. You know, it's in the creating. So I would enjoy it more.
So what do you believe about life?
What do I believe about life? I believe that we all chose to be here and that there's a reason, and it's in us learning and asking questions to reveal that and figure it out and helping others. I mean, I don't know that I have it all figured out, but I do believe that we all are having a human experience and that we're here for a reason. And I think that we sell ourselves short by giving up or, you know, not going for our passions and not taking those risks.
What lessons did you get from your parents?
What, you're asking a lot of hard questions here. I gotta say, what lessons did I get from my parents? I don't know. My dad died when I was 22, so I was young. And from him, I learned a lesson that I've sort of been undoing my whole adult life. I mean, I just learned that it was all about working harder and making more money. He never talked about impact or, you know, purpose or passion. So I've had to sort of unlearn that it doesn't have to be about just earning money.
But
or
if you had to find some great thing that you learned from your father, what would it be?
I will say that be accountable. Be accountable, that it's nobody else's fault. It's never anybody else's fault. And even when I have gone to default of blaming, you know, someone I hired or whatever else, it's really my fault in the end. And I know that. I made the decision. I chose. I kept people on. I did whatever. So my dad taught me that it's always our responsibility. It's nobody else's fault.
Wow, great lesson. What about from mother?
From my mom?
She's still alive.
Yes, my mom is still alive. What lesson did I learn? You know what? I bet the aging in reverse came from my mom. Now that you asked me that question, my mom looks very good for her age. She acts younger. She's never let age be in her gap or her way of why she can't accomplish things. So I would say that came from my mom.
What happened to your dad?
He had a heart attack.
Heart attack.
At age 49, yeah.
Very young.
Yeah, very young. Yes.
It was hard for you?
It was very hard for me. My dad was like the one I went to for validation of everything. So my dad was who I sought approval from. It's who I went to for questions on anything. Like, I didn't know how to do anything without my dad. So if you had asked me before he died, what's the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, I would have said my dad to die. And then when he did, as awful as it was, it did force me to grow up. And it did, I would say any success I have had came from having to learn how to navigate a world without him and become independent.
It's not easy. Probably.
No, I mean,
For a daughter. For a daughter to lose.
I don't know that it's easy for anybody to lose anyone, any parent or child or family member, you know, at any time. Yeah, it's hard, but I don't know that has, again, I would not be stuck in a story about like that hurt me. I mean, yes, it hurt me, I mean, but not that's, a lot of people quit their life because of a loss or because of something, and that's not what I was going to do with my dad.
Is there anything that you didn't tell him?
I don't think that there's anything I didn't tell my dad, no. I can't think of that.
Right, so what you will not do now in new relationship, in new marriage, because of the experience that you did have?
With my ex-husband?
Yeah.
What would I not do?
What is going to change, or it changed already?
Oh my gosh, this is so long ago with that. I guess I wouldn't hold back. After being in a marriage that fell apart, there's a lot of things we didn't say to each other, and I wouldn't hold back anymore. My husband and I now, we definitely talk about our feelings.
Okay,
We talk
that's
about what's going on.
great advice.
We talk about problems. We embrace change. My ex-husband and I got married, and then we both changed in total different directions, and we resented each other for changing. My husband now, we both change, and we support that we're both changing. And we
great.
both grow.
So you talk more.
We talk about growth and what we
share
want in our visions, yes.
You are straight.
Yes.
You don't hide anymore.
We don't hide anymore.
Emotions, facts, nothing.
Nothing.
That's nice.
Nothing. If he wanted to go and do some crazy thing, I might tell him it's crazy, but at least I have the facts. And he gets to live his life and I can live mine.
What are some of the top tasks that you focus on in the business and what you delegate? And
Top
outsource?
task? What
Like
should
three
I
top
focus
tasks,
on, or what? So
What do you do?
Yeah. What I need to be focusing on is literally just being in my vision and teaching and sharing and giving knowledge and promoting and selling. Those are my gifts.
So it's creating content, selling, promoting.
Yes, creating. And what I need to not be doing is emails and spreadsheets and booking and calendars and all those controlling details that I find myself doing a lot of times. But that's not what helps move a
Do you
business
have the
forward.
team?
I used to have a team. I've really cut down my team because, yes, I'm a fan of delegating, but when you have a very, very clear vision and you have a team on board with your vision, but I've learned many lessons about hiring people to do things for you without a solid vision. That doesn't work either. So I'm all about delegating once you, the business owner, are very clear on a vision and what it is that you want to happen.
What is the biggest struggle you have right now in the business?
The biggest struggle I have.
If we check your Instagram page, 2.5 million followers, and everybody think, it's easy.
Yeah.
You probably have some struggles too.
Yeah, I would say it's me. It's me being able to be very clear on what I want to create at any given time. Because I have a lot of ideas and a lot of visions, and I get clearer on where I want to go, but I do have a lot of interest in a lot of things I share, and that makes it very hard to have a team to execute when I'm not 100% clear at all given times.
Did you try Colby?
I am a Colby. I'm a 3393. So is it?
3393.
Yeah,
I would
quick
say
start.
you are close to 10.
Yeah.
I'm 10.
Yeah, a quick start 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But are you
nine is high.
Yeah.
You can drive your team crazy.
And I have driven my team crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've been through lots of teams. But I did realize that it's not my team's fault, it was my fault.
No,
it's always my fault.
It's 9, 10 quick start.
Yeah, it's a 9 quick start. So I've pulled back the reins on team, knowing that I get to pick which things I'm going to focus on and execute and hire contractors, whoever, with those specific visions, but not expect somebody else to fix things, do everything, or read my mind.
What was the biggest mistake you did in the business?
There's multiple, but I would say the biggest mistake I made, and I don't even blame the person I did this with, is I paid a lot of money to a team that I thought was going to fix and create something for me. And that was the biggest mistake because I'm the visionary in my business, and me expecting somebody else to create a vision and do that for me was going to be a fail to begin with. So it was a hard lesson for me to learn, and I've repeated that several times, but I get it loud and clear now that I can't pay somebody to create a vision. It has to be my own, and nobody can do it better than me. That's a mistake a lot of us make too, and I'm definitely guilty of that, is that as strong as my visions are and as good as I am, I had my own self-doubt conversations thinking somebody else knows more than me, and that doesn't work, because what has worked in my business is when I have implemented my own visions and ran with it, like my 7-day jumpstart, like a number of things I've launched and done on my own. But when I hired somebody else to come in and create and do it for me, it didn't work.
I agree.
Yeah.
With 10 or 9 quick start, you always create.
And it's an expensive lesson, multiple times, yes.
What about selling skills?
Selling skills.
Where did you get them? In
So-
first job?
Yeah, my selling
yeah.
skills came from my very first sales job.
There are many,
Yeah.
many people out there. They have their passions, their visions.
I will tell you.
Asset, but no selling.
Yeah. Selling's not my problem because I really don't feel like a salesperson. I feel like I'm a solution.
Yes.
I'm
Wow,
very
I
good
like
at
it.
solutions, and I'm
Good
really good at listening.
reframing.
Yes, I'm really good at listening, and if I can listen to really what's going on with you and get to the root of it, then I can offer a solution. And that is, a good salesperson is good at that. A bad salesperson just looks like they're selling all the time. That I don't like. So where I learned to sell was my very first sales job was selling corrugated boxes. And I was in my early 20s, and I sold corrugated boxes. And I remember cold calling warehouses asking, do you want to buy my boxes? And every day, I was this cute girl in my early 20s, so the warehouse manager would be like, sure, what's your pricing on your boxes? And I would go back to my manager every day, and I'd say, I have this lead, and they want pricing, and he would ask me 100 questions. How many do they want? What size do they want? What are they going to use them for? Where are they going to store them? He would ask me so many questions, and I would get really angry. Like, why is he asking me so many questions? But what he taught me was I needed to go deep and have every single answer before I ever even brought it to him. So I started getting really inquisitive on sales calls. I needed to know every detail about what people were doing with these boxes, why they were going to use them, how they were going to use them. And I learned early on to really ask those questions and get to the root of it and then offer a solution. And that sales manager, who I hated at the time, ended up being the best lesson for me.
So getting into sales, it's smart.
I think every business has a sales aspect. So yeah, I just don't like the word sales, but
solution.
really
I like
solution
it.
and being inquisitive. Being inquisitive.
How do you create content for your social media?
So I do not plan it. It really is whatever's going on in my life. I'm not a fan of planned content. I've done that at times in my business and it hasn't worked. I'm not a fan of delegating it out, to create my content. It really comes from whatever I'm feeling or thinking at the moment.
So how did you get so many followers on Instagram?
I don't know.
I
would say,
that's a very
honestly,
good answer.
I think it would be adding value. And it's changed a lot on social media. I think I lose followers on Instagram with algorithm
me too,
changes.
every day.
I built Facebook initially. I have almost 2 million there, which definitely has not budged in a long time. But that grew really authentically from adding value, answering questions, sharing. With Instagram, it was really just adding value. It was never about trying to get followers or having a number. It was just about adding value and sharing.
Great piece of advice.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a strategy to be successful.
No.
Sometimes.
And a warning to people that buy followers or do that doesn't work. That's great. You can do that, but that doesn't translate to sales or customers.
Absolutely. Likes will not buy food.
No. And I will also share that I had way more sales with less numbers of followers than I do now with a lot of followers. The more you have, the less those people see your stuff. Because it's going to get divided up amongst those followers. So if you have 10 followers, they all see that. If you have 1 million followers, they don't all see your stuff.
Level Up podcast.
Yeah.
When did you start?
So that idea came from me because I've had so many rock bottom spots in my life.
Yeah.
And in business especially, lots of failures. And I was curious, how do people continually get themselves out of a rock bottom spot and recreate and get to another level? Because many times I've wanted to give up, right? And a lot of people do give up. They have a failure and they give up. But then you'll meet somebody that has massive failures and then recreates. Massive failure, recreates. Same with health, fitness, nutrition, handicap, anything. I met a woman recently that, she was an Olympic athlete. She was hit by a bus, paralyzed, her whole life was over in her eyes. She retrained her brain, taught herself to walk again. She leveled up, created from a terrible space. So I was curious, how are all these people doing that? And I wanted to know for my own knowledge, and I also wanted to know for my audience. And especially dealing with fat loss and all those women there, what makes some women get it, lose the weight and keep it off, and others just never seem to even be able to get past the refrigerator. They keep going back. They know what they need to eat, but they keep going and eating what they shouldn't be eating. So I wanted to know what makes people level up, what are those commonalities? So I started digging into that, and I decided to share it on a podcast, and it's literally my favorite thing to do with my day right now is interviewing people on how they were able to shift their mindset and create everything from nothing and level up.
So what do they have in common?
Good question.
Yeah, they lost
There's
weight?
some definite commonalities, yes. Every single person I've talked to has a vision. They know what they want. At whatever point, they get a vision. I want this, and they declare it. So they have a vision, and they make a decision, and they're loud about it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create this. Every single person I've interviewed would not let negative thoughts into their mind, no way, no how. So if they were told by a doctor they can't do it, they were told by a bank they can't do it, whatever, they don't even want to hear it. It's like they block all negativity completely out of their life, and they get it out. Number 3 is massive action towards it. They all take massive action towards their vision, and they don't worry about the how. It's more, I want this, and I'm gonna take the right action, ask the right questions, and I'm gonna move towards it, and I'm not gonna let the details and the how derail me. They all say that. Number 4, powerful morning routine. Pretty much everybody I've interviewed has a powerful morning routine. Now, I don't know if everybody is like truly 7 days a week, or they just say that, or if they're more like me, where it's like, okay, 4 or 5 days I've got it, and 2 days maybe I messed it up. I don't know, but they all have this morning routine that they talk about. And then it's the circle of friends and people they let into their life. So everybody that I've talked to, they really level up with who do I surround myself with, who's in my life, who do I let influence me. Those are the commonalities.
Support team.
Support team.
Reverse aging. When is the book coming out?
May. It hits stores this May.
Yeah?
Yes.
Why should I buy it?
Why should you? Well, you don't have to. Why should you buy?
I want to.
Well, because
It's not for women only.
It's for everybody. Okay. Why should you buy it? Because it's a different thought on aging. It's not about, I'm not getting into cosmetic surgery, and I'm not getting into like how to trick and look younger, nothing like that. I'm talking about some real takeaways on how you can change your state to feel confident at that age, and then some really simple to follow nutrition guidelines and exercises so you can start feeling better. You know, with age comes loss of focus a lot of times, or the foggy head, or the tired, and the aches and pains, and I address all of that.
Great. Is there anything you would like to tell to my audience?
No, just if you're here watching this, then you obviously care about leveling up and personal development and getting better, and just knowing that first step is believing and deciding that it's possible for you.
So how much personal development you blend into your coaching? And
all everything. I would say
it's not about weight loss only.
Nope, and I cannot authentically say that I just am fitness or fat loss anymore, because I am way more personal development at this point, and I think it's very misleading to just stick with diet and exercise.
So when you started out, it was like 100% fitness?
Yes.
And maybe 1% personal development. How much is now your coaching and everything?
It was originally all fitness and nutrition, and I didn't even know it was mindset. I was using mindset. I didn't know that that's what it was. I would say I'm 90% mindset at this point.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm 10% nutrition.
Yeah, so people come to me, they either want to lose weight.
Yes, of course.
Or they want to know how to get rich. It's like, how do I grow a business online? Or how do I lose weight? Like, it's like one or the other. And no matter who I take, we end up going into personal development. So because it's the business problem and the fat loss problem are both personal development problems. They both are. And you figure that out, and you can achieve other things.
But if you tell them first,
they don't care. They don't want to know mindset.
No,
I got to tell you, you're going to look great in a bikini.
I have the same experience.
Yeah, you're going to look great in a bikini, or you're going to get rich. That's what they want to know, right?
But everything is here.
Everything is here, and I'm the girl for you on that, because I have lived through all of it. I mean, I've had more failures than anyone, and I have definitely had my rock bottom moments, and I've also worked through them and shifted out of them, and I'm not afraid to share any of that.
What was the first book you read on personal development?
So 7-Day Jumpstart was personal development. I didn't even know it. I talk about a lot of this mindset change in there. I just didn't know that that's what it was. Aging in Reverse, same thing, a lot is in there. And then I don't have this out yet, but I'm predicting a third book about this leveling up, creating everything from nothing, because with these fascinating interviews I've been doing on podcasts, I've just learned so much more about myself and others, and I feel that's for the direction I'm headed.
I think you already laid out the chapters in the interview.
Pretty much. So we're going to write it right from this interview.
What book would you recommend to my audience?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
What was the first book that changed your life?
You know, I've read so many books. I can't say that there's like one, but I am reading my friend Bedros Keuilian's right now, and I love it.
I interviewed him a couple of days ago.
Yes, his book is so spot on. Man Up is great. Read that book. Man Up is great. I love that. And that's, as of recent, I'm reading that one, so I love that.
I have last question.
Yeah.
That I call power message.
Okay.
Just pretend for 5 seconds.
Okay, got it. 5.
You only have 5 seconds to live. What would be the last message you would send to your daughter that would stick with her?
Oh my gosh, what kind of question is that? That's like horrible. Just that I love her, and I would just be literally, I love you, you're amazing, you're perfect the way that you are, and I'm always with you. That would be my last message, I guess. Wow.
What about the message that would help her to
that's
live
what would
after?
help her, to know that she's enough, and that she doesn't have to be anything else.
She's enough.
She's enough, and she's loved, and she's perfect how she is. That's what she needs to know. Because I personally have fought with being enough my whole life, and I think a lot of people fight with being enough, and so I'd want her to know that she's enough.
You are enough. Watch Warrior Family Show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy you came.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.